All right. Well, hello everybody. Hello. Welcome to Team Awesome's first meeting. Um, this is gonna be the name of the of our little makeshift game studio for our project, our summer project. Um, First of all, just kind of like a little introduction of like the first, kind of like the people that started this idea. My name is Carlos. I'm gonna be the producer and the art lead for the project. A little bit about me. I like drawing a lot. I play Destiny. Sadly, I hate that I love the game, and it's probably the game that I play the most. I probably played like 20 hours of it like like last week because we
Oh,
didn't have any more classes. But anyway, so yeah, that's me. Zach, if you want to introduce yourself for the people that don't know you.
I'm Zachary Noah Pointer. I live in 595 Tree Lago
What
Way.
the?
595.
Um, I play video games, and I'm the level designer.
Thank
Is
you,
that good?
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Jeremy.
Uh-huh. Oh, Jeremy, I'm also a level designer. Hades 2 just came out, so I that's my summer.
Fire.
Uh,
Oh no, your summer is this. I'm kidding.
sure, bud, sure. Uh,
Alrighty. And then Susie.
Yeah, I'm Susie. It's my last name. I prefer the pronouns he, him. I plan on being technical designer. Um, Mainly just because I have a lot of free time. So I'm gonna be able to dedicate a lot of time to this project. My main game is just Overwatch, since the most of what I do is just work or watching D&D shows. So I take time with Overwatch.
Yeah. Susie's kind of
Yeah.
like, he's literally the meme of like the unemployed friend on a Tuesday at 4 p.m. So yeah, he'll have a lot of time to
Oh,
work on stuff. Um, so yeah, these are us. We're kind of the ones that came up with the idea of like working on a game in summer and stuff like that. And then we all kind of texted you guys from our different classes and stuff so we could all get together and make a game. Now, if you guys want to introduce ourselves, yourselves, sorry. If you guys want to introduce ourselves to kind of like, I know some of you guys are working, so it's up to you guys if you want to do it. But yeah, I don't know if Sabrina, you want to introduce yourself since you're driving. You're
oh,
probably the one that can talk the best. Yeah.
okay, of course. Okay, my name is Sabrina. I also go by Cowie. I like drawing too. Whoa, whoa. I like to draw and I like to model. I play D&D and Overwatch. My most game that I play is also Overwatch and Skyrim. And
Oh.
I'm also,
I'm
yeah,
so
I'm,
sorry for
I'm
you.
driving right
Did you really
now. Yeah,
just
yeah.
make a
I have
trash
going
sound of
through
it? Like,
withdrawals.
oh.
Wah, wah, wah. Yeah, very depressing. That's
Okay.
it.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. I don't know if Oxpatch or Relan C9 want to go next. Sorry.
Um, Always, okay, yeah, I'm Rylan. I'm a 3D modeler as well. I like doing that stuff, specifically when it comes to hard surface environmental stuff. And I guess game-wise, I'm a big fan of roguelikes. So I've been playing Inscription again recently. I don't know why, but I
Oh,
have. So
nice. Inscription is so good. I love Inscription.
it's really good.
Yeah, I think one of our professors in like Howard, if you know him, he did like a whole like scholarly article for Inscription.
I
Yeah,
should read that.
that game is so good, dude. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Toto, I don't know if you can speak if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Tori. I don't know if you could hear me that well. I'm out outside right now.
No, you're
But
perfect.
okay, perfect. I'm a 3D modeler. I actually just did a cinematic for my final last semester, but hopefully I'm doing the character art. I mostly play like Riot games. I'm sorry. Uh, I'm not a recovering addict. I'm still an addict. Yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's all
This
good.
is
It's a
depressing.
recovery. It's a journey. Progress is not linear. It's okay. We can
No,
all.
no, no.
It's
I cut
okay
it
to
out for
wean
like
off.
4 years and I'm back, so that's fine.
It's okay. It's okay. That's just how it goes. It's fine.
You
Like I
were
said,
happy for four
progress is
years.
not linear. Yeah. Alrighty. We're just missing Chandler and Oxpatch. If one of you guys wants to introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name is Jacob. I'm here to be um uh uh doing it's not coming to mind. I woke up like 5 minutes ago.
You're good.
I'm gonna be sitting
dude.
in Blueprints and Visual Studio all day. That's my job.
Programming.
Yeah, there we go. Um the Unfortunately the only games I really play are fighting games.
Fire.
But you know
Oh,
what?
what you play? What you
Which
play? What you
ones?
play?
Yeah.
Striving
Yeah.
Street Fighter 6 right now.
What
Respectable.
floor are you on, or do you play in the park?
Celestial.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh my
shit.
god. Okay. Yeah. He could beat both of us with his eyes closed. That's fine. With their eyes closed. Yeah. I'm floor 7. I'm a proud. What do you call it? What was her name? I forgot. Elpha main since she came out.
Oh, kill yourself.
Okay,
I'm a
no,
proud.
no.
I'm a
Diaper,
proud
bro.
ape. Proud ape. Yeah.
No, as it should
You
be.
goddamn are an ape naming
Yes,
yourself
sir.
Elf Diaper.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Of
Bro,
course. I
no,
had to.
hold
I
on.
had
Okay, well,
to.
I
Before
was,
that.
I was gonna say respect, but you know what? You know, off the wall.
It's okay. I'm very passionate about my character. Okay. So
I can't blame you. I mean, I've been playing Anji since day one.
nice.
No.
Oh, damn, yeah. You must be happy ever since the buffs that he got. Yeah.
Oh, they finally put him in the game.
Yeah. True. All right. Awesome. Awesome. And so we only should be missing
It's Chandler. You didn't.
Chandler. Yeah. I don't know if you can speak. If not, that's fine.
Yeah, what's up?
Awesome.
My name's Chandler. I'm from Zach's game production class from this past semester. My main thing that I do is environment art. Recently, I've been doing a lot of stylized stuff, but I want to do like hard surface Gothic architecture. My main game right now is also Destiny.
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm so sorry.
Nice.
I also am a Riot addict as well. I play a little too much League, but yeah, that's basically what I do. I will probably be on environments the whole time, but yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, we have a good mix of people. We might be getting like one or more people. I believe that I think Susie, you invited Mateo, right? The guy that's missing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, so he should also be working on like coding stuff or like technical engine stuff, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, we have a good mix. We have a ton of artists. We have a lot of we also have some programmers that can help us out and techs as well. So we should have a good kind of mix of people that we can kind of delegate work with. And yeah, so a little bit moving on from the introductions, kind of to the project expectations. So this is a rough, very, very rough timeline. Just kind of thinking about the time frame that this project is going to take. So the project will last from today until the end of July, just give or take. Right now, I don't have any production plan made. I'm going to have that ready for next week. This week is just to kind of like get to know each other, kind of get to know the project that we're doing, and then we can kind of move on to like actual production next week. So our first priority for this project is going to be learning. Obviously, we're going to try and make the game that we have envisioned under our limitations as students. And also more than learning, this is going to be a portfolio piece for all of us, hopefully. And like I said, yeah, by next week I'll have a production plan that we can all follow. So moving on to the actual game idea. The game idea is called Heaven Punch. We're gonna go over the genre and the aesthetics, the mechanics, the feel of the game, and kind of like the vibes that we want to go for. First of all, going by the genre and the aesthetics, one of our main inspirations for kind of like the core four of us when we were talking about the idea for the game was Hades. Basically, the genre it's gonna be like an action game, linear. It's not going to be roguelite, or at least we don't have it envisioned to be roguelite. We want it to be kind of like an experience that you can just start and finish in just like one sitting, specifically for this summer project. Also, in terms of kind of like the duration of the experience, we're thinking it to be around 15 minutes by the end of the project. We have ideas for stuff that could go further depending on how the production goes, but if anything, we have planned like just introduction, just one level of the game, 15 minutes. So yeah, a linear game. It would have the same 3D kind of isometric camera view that Hades has. I'm gonna show a picture in a little bit as well, so you guys can have a better idea of that. For the people that haven't played Hades. So in terms of the art style, we're thinking about something a little bit more low poly, similar to games like Abyss, X Zero, and the PS1 vibes, with like a little bit more visual fidelity in the textures. So not necessarily like the very pixelated textures. I have a picture of Abyss X Zero that we can also look at that has a better idea of what I'm talking about as well. So yeah, keeping the poly count relatively low, and also we want to use bright colors. We want it to be a very poppy game. So this is the main aesthetic inspiration for the game is Hades. Um, you can see kind of the isometric view. It's like a relatively like kind of almost top down, but like off to the side, similar to like League of Legends and the game that we're looking at, Hades. That's kind of what we had in mind, but our backgrounds will be 3D, not 2D. So that will be the biggest difference between us and something like Hades. Another inspiration that I found was this game called Abyss X Zero. It's an indie game that's coming out soon, and I really like the way that kind of they use it's low poly and it's also pixelar, but it's not necessarily they're not using any filter on the screen to make it look like it's PS1 or anything like that. It's just kind of like a high definition in terms of the textures, but still low poly. I'm still kind of thinking about if we are going to be doing pixel art, if we want to move to something a little bit more smooth. We can figure that out as we, the artists, work in pre-production. So yeah. Now moving on to the game story. So this world in the game is going to be a story about heaven and hell, where each different side has a high school. We have Heaven and Hell High School. Our main character, his name is Agrios. He is the little character right here, kind of like a devilish guy with a halo on top and that big fist. He is a devil, but he's an exchange student in the Heaven High School. Kind of the whole plot of the game is that the inter-school Olympics between Hell and Heaven High School are just starting, but the devils drop all the angels in their school without being able to leave. And obviously only Agrios, because he's a devil, he's the only one that can save the angels for the high school, utilizing the Heaven Fist, the Heaven Punch. Um, Kind of like that's kind of the plot of the game, the driving force. The first, I would say, kind of like what, maybe 3 minutes of the experience would be like that exposition and everybody being trapped, and and God coming down and being like, hey, I need you to save him, or something like that. And the main actual gameplay of the game will be the character Agrios fighting through the different clubs of the Hell High School. Since it was going to be kind of like an inter competition between the two schools, Agrios has to go and defeat every single club of the Devil High School. Now, this is kind of like the plans for the idea of the complete experience, like the complete game. But for summer, we're aiming just to do one club out of the ones that we have already thought of. So the different clubs that we had in mind, we have track and field would be the first one. Then we also were thinking about like D&D club, anime club, cooking club, stocks, like economics and stuff like that. Those are different ideas that we have if we have the time, if we have the time to kind of work on more stuff, more than one level. But for now, the first level that we're going to be working on, kind of like the basis of the game, is going to be that track and field. Also, each level will be a club with a mechanic that will teach Agrios, and the boss at the end is going to test that mechanic. For the track and field club, there's not going to be any specific mechanic for that level because it is the first one. It's just going to be one of the core mechanics that I'm going to go over in a second. So yeah, moving on to the mechanics of the game, specifically in the combat. The way that we're thinking about the combat is best described as Hades meets pinball. Well, we're basically the player will have three main tools at their disposal. They have the Heaven Punch, their gauntlet, a continuous dash, and a dodge functionality. We say Hades with pinball because we want to kind of recreate that same action feel of the game, but we want to give the character a little bit more mobility options, make them feel a little bit more free, and kind of bring up the pace a little bit of the combat compared to something like Hades. Now, the first mechanic that we're talking about is the that dash that I mentioned. So the player has a fast and continuous dash that causes them to bounce around the edges of the game space until they decide to crash into an enemy, kind of like a pinball. Imagine that whenever you're in like an arcade or something like that, and you throw the pinball, you see it like bounce around every single wall before it hits like an obstacle or something. That's the idea that we have for that mechanic. Um, Also, in terms of like how it controls, the dash should be harder to control than moving normally, in the sense that you wouldn't be able to turn in like a perfect 360 degree of motion while you're doing it. But the speed and the bounces gives the player maneuverability over their enemies. So basically, you can use the dash to dodge, you can use it to engage the enemy. That's kind of like the main use for it. Also, the second mechanic that we're going to have, which is going to be kind of like the main way that Agrios has to deal damage, it's going to be the Heaven Punch, the Heaven Fist. It's a gauntlet that lets them combo their enemies. It would be something basic, imagine, very similar to like the fist from Hades in a lot of ways. It would be a 3-hit combo, and you also have the option to do a charged punch. For that, you can imagine for our Overwatch players, basically when Doomfist is charging up the punch, that would be the charge punch, right? You charge it, and then you just fly off whatever you were aiming at. And the dash can be canceled into the charge punch while maintaining momentum. That's good for repositioning. That's kind of like a more complex mechanic. Also, this is just like the ideas of the three main mechanics for the combat that we have. We still have to see if we're able to implement them correctly in the engine. If anything, all this stuff is kind of subject to change, but I'm also gonna come back to that point as well in a second. The third kind of main mechanic would be the dodge. So the player can perform a dodge to move and have the iframes be invincible for a very short time to dodge attacks. And like I said, there's going to be specific combos that combine these three mechanics are planned, but for now they're nice to have until we can implement the three mechanics in full. Basically, we just want to make sure that we can implement these three mechanics in kind of like a functional level, and then we can think about maybe adding different combos and stuff like that. For example, the different combo that I was thinking about that we were talking before would be something like, imagine that the player evades, like he presses the dodge button, and then you press a punch button right away, and you can do kind of like a ground slam compared to just like the regular punch. Those are kind of like the ideas for the combos that we have. It's nothing too complicated in terms of actual execution, but still we want to give the players that kind of like freedom to choose the way that they go about the encounters. This is like a very base introduction of the combat, but as we move forward, we can, like the designers and stuff like that and the coders, we can move into more complex stuff like the enemies and stuff like that as the weeks go on in production. So this is mostly for my coders. Other mechanics that the game is going to have would be a simple dialogue system, basically just approaching a character and pressing A to speak and then hearing what they have to say, and also a passive dialogue system. Since I said that each club is going to be a level and each level is going to have the boss, we had the idea of the boss talking to the player as they move across the level. If any of you guys have played Kid Icarus on the 3DS, that's basically what we're going for. It's basically the boss just kind of like taunting you or telling you stuff about the level while you're playing, and then you get to see them at the end and you get to fight them. Also a cutscene system, obviously a scene manager, player prefs and a game manager, and a main menu and pause menu. In terms of the cutscenes, we're not necessarily going to be using a ton of them. It would mainly just be for that beginning section, where it's kind of like we will have Agrios in a small playable area where he talks to all the students and stuff like that. Then you have that a tiny cutscene of like, oh, the devil's trapping the angels and stuff like that, and then we will move into gameplay for the actual level. But all of these stuff we're gonna go into detail as we move forward in production as well. Finally, talking about kind of like the feel and the vibes of the game. We want the game to have a very lighthearted, kind of like goofy tone, and using like bright colors and having comedy present in dialogue and environmental storytelling. We were thinking about doing stuff like maybe having in the Heaven High School having like a trash can with like a halo on it or something like that, like small stuff that kind of like lifts up the vibe of the game. We don't want it to feel very like serious, gritty, or anything like that. We can have environments that way, especially around like the hell area or something like that. But most of the time, we want it to feel a little bit more goofy, a little bit lighthearted. And finally, in terms of what we want the player to feel, while playing this. We want to make the player feel powerful while playing. Basically, like I said before, imagine kind of like Hades style combat in the first few floors, nothing extremely hard. We don't want it to be like a very hardcore game, but we still want it to be kind of like a power trip for the player where they feel like they're this all-powerful demon just fighting for heaven to save all the angels and stuff. All right, we're almost done with the actual presentation. Then we can move on to questions. So now talking about like more of the workflow that we're gonna have in the group. So like I said before, everything here is subject to change based on what the team's opinions are. This is the idea that I just gave you guys right now is just what we had so far. Now this is gonna be all of our game, right? We're about what 10, 11 people that are in this group making the game. So this game is going to be yours as much as it is ours. So don't feel afraid to recommend changes. Talk about stuff that you think it might be cool or whatever. Even if it's like outside your department, if you think like, oh, it would be cool if like an enemy had like this on or whatever, we'll be open to change. This is all of our projects. There's no egos in place here. We're just trying to make the best game that we all want to make. Also, things are, like I said, are subject to change, but also based on our skill level realities as well. Because we mainly, this is talking about kind of like the mechanic side of things, because we have kind of it's more of a specific idea of how we want the combat and flow to be. But if we're just not there in the sense of like our skill level, we can reel stuff back. For I can speak for the four of us that have been talking about this idea before. We're not married to like one specific aspect of the game, like ride or die. If it's something that like we've been stuck on for like 2 weeks and we really can't figure it out, it's fine. We can work around it. It's all in the sense of learning, in the sense of kind of getting better, and also having like a cool portfolio piece to show like, hey, we did something in summer. We weren't just playing League slash Overwatch slash Destiny all summer, right? And at the end of this kind of point would be like a simple game is better than no game. If at the end, because of our skill levels, we just can't get the dashes to work, and we just have to make like a simple three-hit combo with like a very simple combat, or like not a lot of dialogue and stuff like that, that's fine. It's better to have a simple game, a more basic game, than just not having any game because we weren't able to figure out the mechanics and stuff. So finally, almost wrapping up. Basically, the leads. We're gonna touch base with everybody in like Discord DMs to kind of delegate the specific roles. We're gonna ask you guys like, hey, what are you good at? What do you want to work at? And also to gauge how much time we can all individually give to the project per week. It's okay if like depending on like whatever you guys have. I know we all have a lot of us have jobs and stuff like that. Just give us like an honest estimate of how much you can work, and then we can go from there in terms of like the production plan and stuff like that. So we know what to kind of expect to look for in the different stages of work. And again, any concern, idea, or question that you guys have in terms of like, this is more talking about like after we start production. So like any, I don't know, anything that you might feel might not be working, or any accommodations that you might need, anything, you can come to your lead to talk about it, or to me as the producer, and we'll help you out. We'll try to figure out as much stuff as we can together. So finally, I think this is the last slide. Yeah. So our production plan will be ready for next week. Then that would basically be, first we're gonna talk to you guys in private on Discord, kind of like send you a little message, talk about like what I just talked about before, and then I can build up the production plan based on that. There will be weekly meetings per department, so mainly divided to like art team, design team, and then coding team. And also one-on-one Discord message check-ins may happen more often as well. This is basically kind of like a small check-in, just being like, hey, how's your progress going for your tasks for the week? Is everything okay? Do you need help? How is it going? Basically just kind of checking in to make sure that we're not falling behind, but also that if you need some help, we can help you out with it. It's okay to ask for help. We have, 10 people is a big amount of people, so we definitely have people that can help each other out if we have any issues in each department or whatever. And also per sprint, for those that haven't worked with like a kind of a game development schedule. Sprints are basically normally 2 to 3 week kind of increments or lapses of time where we work in a specific deliverable for the game. For example, we would work on a beta sprint or a some sort of like a playable build sprint, right? There will be at least one team-wide meeting, like the one that we're having right now, per sprint, just to kind of like see where everybody's at, kind of like mix together everybody's progress, and we can see what we're doing, we can see how everything's going, and we can have like these would be probably like the best times to kind of like talk about different ideas that we would have or like stuff that you want to bring up to the whole team and stuff. These meetings would be the best time to do so. So yeah, kind of like what we have looking forward for next week would be that production plan. For this week, like I said, we're not necessarily going to be doing a ton of work this week. It's just mainly going to be talking to the leads. The leads are going to text each other, like text each person in terms of like their department and stuff like that, asking for those details about like what you guys are good at, what you guys want to do, what are the time that you guys have to put into this project per week, and then we're gonna delegate the roles based on that, and then we can get started on actual production next week. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got. If you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. Right now, you guys have the open floor about anything. It can be about the art, the story, the game, the mechanics, any recommendations or anything you guys might have. Yeah, the floor is open. And I don't know if Susie, Jeremy, or Zach, you guys want to say anything else?
But is everyone still on board for doing it after the presentation?
Yeah, sounds neat.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fun. So.
Oh yeah.
Yay.
We don't have to
I
file
don't know
Carlos for
if you
presentation.
guys
Yippee!
mentioned it already.
Mm-hmm.
But what engine would you be using?
So we were thinking it's also something that the techs and the coders gotta talk about with you guys as well. We were thinking of doing Unreal. Some of us have more experience than others in Unreal. But I know that Susie being kind of like the lead like coder or tech designer as well, he doesn't have that much experience in Unreal. But we're thinking that it could be a good opportunity to just learn the engine in general for people that haven't learned it yet. Because I know a lot of us have worked in Unity, probably for like most of our kind of like school careers. But yeah, we're thinking about using Unreal. Yeah.
And on that for Unreal, they have some really, really good artist tools now. Specifically, one of the main ones that's making me go towards Unreal for this project is they have like modular animation systems. Basically, you can make a animation skeleton by just dragging certain features onto a model. So like you give it a spine, you give it hips, you give it legs, you give it an arm.
Yeah.
These are just parts you drag and drop in, and that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. It's I feel like it's a great
Yeah,
opportunity.
I was doing a.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry, no. I was gonna say I was using the Unreal engine for my last project, so I have more development skill with them before the modular update, and the modular update is very, very good to use. So
Okay.
Awesome.
I'll put that in there too.
Yeah, we don't have a dedicated animator artist. We're trying to see if maybe we can get one, but if anything, like those tools are definitely gonna help our workflow. So yeah, like I said, as after the like the one-on-ones and stuff like that, we can see kind of like where everybody ends up in terms of their roles. But yeah, those like Unreal just has like a lot of stuff that is very easy to kind of implement and kind of like geared towards game design that Unity lacks a lot of times. So I feel like it's gonna be a great tool to kind of learn for people that haven't learned it yet, and for people that already know it, it's gonna be even better to kind of like deepen that understanding. Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions for now?
Are we gonna be signing any contracts?
Oh yes. I should have the contract ready by next week. I want to just get first all the details and stuff like that of what I was talking about in terms of like the one-on-ones, so we can kind of build up the production plan and the contract as well. just, I mean, the contract's gonna be kind of like, imagine like the same contract that we had on game production for those that have taken that class. Just kind of saying like, hey, you're gonna be basically expected to work the hours that you basically let us know. If there's any issues and stuff like that, we're gonna have like a warning system and stuff like that. But yeah, pretty basic stuff. And yeah, at the end of the day, this game belongs to everybody, but what you create for the game is gonna be your property in the sense that you're gonna put it in your portfolio. You can showcase it as your work and stuff like that. We're not gonna take any ownership of that or anything. This is just a student game, first and foremost. We obviously, like, I know that the core four, we have kind of like that idea of bringing it, maybe making it something bigger, like down the line and stuff. But for now, it's just a student project for portfolio, so we can think about it as that way. Yeah. All right. If we don't have any more questions, that should be it for this first week. Like I said, I'll tell all the leads. I'll communicate with them for them to communicate with you, depending on each department. I am the art lead, so I'm gonna be talking to the artists as well. Susie should be the one talking to the programmers, and either Jeremy or Zach. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think Jeremy and Zach might be our only designers. But if we had one more, like, they would be the ones that would talk to you. So yeah, that's pretty much it that I had for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and yeah, let's make a cool game. Thank you guys.
Right back.
Oh
Bye.
God! Wait, we
Right,
didn't
yeah.
talk about the
Bye.
wheelchair kid.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
The
Thank
what?
you.
You didn't need to talk about wheelchair kid.
He's
Uh-oh.
the mascot. He's
Oh,
it's important.
It's just the logo guy. That's about it. Oh, let me turn off the record.